this YouTuber by the name of Destiny Price. I find it rather odd that someone would be named Destiny Price. That's like calling your child, oh, geez, I don't know, Orange Skittles. Ugh. Man, I think I had a frog in my throat. Destiny Price came to me and told me that I should never use gender as one of my arguments. And my response is this: I can talk about gender as much as I want. I haven't talked about gender since that time where I made this video where I looked up this Wikipedia about all these different genders, which include nanogender, fog gender. I can't remember them all. I only remember the most ridiculous of genders. Jupiter gender, let's see, witch gender. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking crazy genders, and there's even flags for it. So if you want to watch the original video, links in the description. I'll even allow you to comment on that video, so that way you guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. His response is basically constantly calling me a beta male cock. Sometimes just calling me beta male, and sometimes just straight out calling me a cock. But usually in that wording. And it's practically in almost every paragraph that he makes. Now, I know I'm saying the word he instead of she, but since it really pisses her off that I'm calling her he instead of she, and I'm talking about gender identity, then you know what? I'm prone to piss people off. I've done it before, and what makes you think I won't do it again? The funny thing is that he is judging me based on Bearing's video, and somehow come to the conclusion that I am anti-transgender. But the funny thing is that I defended transgender rights before, from the likes of this Onision debauch, this debauch Onision clone. I'm like, lady, I don't give a shit if you are a transgender. I don't care. But his response is, you're just a beta male cock. You're not allowed to talk about gender identity. Ah! So, you know what? I'm going to talk about gender identity. So, you should have just kept your mouth shut, because I wasn't planning to, but now I am, because it pisses you off. Congratulations! Talk about gender identity, motherfuckers. Let's get to the basics. First of all, there are only two sexes. Second of all, there are only two genders. And third of all, sex and gender may be a bit different, but they're practically intertwined. You can identify as a male, but you're biologically born as a female, and vice versa. So, that's all there is. If you're transgender, I don't give a flying fuck. You got that? And that's about it. As long as you're either male or female, then you're pretty much good in my book. Of course, there are people like Michael Rowlands and Riley L. Dennis who say otherwise. And this video is going to be a semi-response to them, because I'm not going to address every fucking video that's basically the exact same argument. Think about it. Why would I do that? Let's start with the whole thing, which is gender is a social construct. Gender is not a social construct. Sure, a man could look very feminine and a woman can look very masculine, but those are not gender identities. Sure, they're also traits, but again, it's not an identity, a gender identity. That being said, there are still people out there that say that gender is a social construct, because gender is something that you can change. So a man can identify as a woman but makes no attempt to make himself any more feminine than a butch lesbian. He might maybe wear some lipstick and maybe a wig, but that's about it you're ever going to get from that guy. And the same thing applies to those women who just cut their hairs and just put a tank top and say, I'm a man. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. The likes of fucking, what's it say? Miles Stewart. Yeah, that motherfucker who says that all white people are racist because racism is part of power. It's fucking ridiculous. And then there are those people who constantly switch their gender identities along with their gender pronouns. For example, some guy might identify as male, and then the next day he decides to identify as a female, and then the next day, non-binary. Like, make up your fucking mind! It's gotten that fucking ridiculous that someone created some sort of bracelet with their preferred gender pronoun. So in other words, it's more easier to know what to call them based on their bracelets. Like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I cannot be around people whom I have to constantly switch pronouns in order to fit their narrative. It's like trying to approach someone who is mentally handicapped. You have to be slow and steady and be very fucking gentle, because if you hurt their feelings, they'll throw a fucking tantrum. That's what these people are. They're fucking mentally handicapped. What if I told you that in order for you to have a conversation with me, you must continuously pat your head and rub your tummy? Would you do that? No. That would be fucking ridiculous. It's pretty much the exact same thing when it comes to these people. Why the flying fuck do you expect me to refer you to your preferred pronoun if, one, if you constantly change it, and two, it sounds completely ridiculous? Either go with male or female pronouns. That's it. Why is it that you must create new gender pronouns just to fit your fucking ego? I'll tell you why. Because you're mentally handicapped. The funny thing is the likes of Riley O'Dennis will say things like on how it's pretty much violence to not refer to someone as their preferred gender pronoun because it means that you're not acknowledging their existence. But that's fucking ridiculous, because if I'm not going to give them what they want, and yet somehow that's a full act of violence, because they might end up committing suicide or at least hurting themselves, that's just fucking ridiculous. If I end up hurting someone's feelings, then by your definition, I'm performing an act of violence. Jesus fucking Christ. Grow a pair of balls. Practically my stance is this. If you identify as male or female, that's fine. Just as long as you put the effort into being that fucking gender. But there are people out there who are not really trans. They say they're transitioning, but in reality, they just don't even bother to put in the effort. They're just being trans just for the sake of being trans. It's just cool and hip not to be cis, according to these people. And it's fine if you want to dress up more androgynous, because it's clothing. You're allowed to dress up whatever the fuck you want, just as long as you remain consistent with your gender identity, either male or female. Just don't expect me to have sex with you. Seriously, I am not going to have sex with someone who looks like a fusion of, I don't know, The Amazing Atheist and Zoe Quinn. I'm not gonna have sex with someone like that. And there are people out there that are not gonna have sex with transgender people at all, which is fine. I don't care. If you came to me and told me that you're trans, I just don't care. I wouldn't even know that you're trans unless it was pretty fucking obvious. There's no magic marker that's putting on your forehead saying that you're a fucking tranny. No, it's not. It's not that simple. Okay? So, that's about it. I talked about gender identity. There's really nothing more to talk about. I am the Atheist Gamer and keep gaming on. Oh, one more thing. Turns out that Suit Yourself has allowed her to be a guest speaker on his channel. Suit! What the fuck?